In the following video, I'll be evaluating the interfaces of 4 different sources. The first 2 are the websites CarMax.com and ProFootballTalk.com. I'll then follow up the website analysis with the analysis of 2 different Android apps, Snapchat and LinkedIn. Okay, let's get started. As you can see here, I have the website CarMax.com pulled up. This is my current employer, so for the sake of this presentation, I'll just pretend I don't know how to navigate this website. On CarMax.com, I'm going to go and I'm going to search for a vehicle with AC seats. So you can tell by looking at the website, there's multiple buttons that you can click to search for a car. So a user may be a little bit confused as to what button to click to search for a car. It's not really self-evident which area I should go to search for this car. As you can see here, there is a button to find your car. There's also a button here to shop all cars. And there's a search box as well. And if I scroll down a little further, there's all this extra text. I think there's probably there's needless words here. If you look right here, it's kind of not clear whether or not these are links, so I may think this is a link if I'm scrolling down. As you can see again, there's another button to shop now, so it's a little confusing as to what is the best area to search for a car. So, pretending that I'm a new user of the site, I'm going to click here where it says to search all cars by make, model, or keyword. So, we're looking for a car with AC seats, so I may think that I'll search by keyword, AC seats. By clicking enter, my internet's a little slow right now. It says unfortunately we couldn't find a match for your search. Then it says to see more results, please remove applied filters. Now, if you look at these filters, there's only price, mileage, and years. So, in this instance, as a frustrated user, I'm going to go backwards. In the original instance, I kind of satisfied my what I was doing here, because I thought as a user that this was my first reasonable option. Actually, I'm going to try this one. Search all cars. Now, searching within 25 miles to my closest location just happens to be Westboro, which is actually the store I work at. Now, if you look on the left, this is actually pretty clear. It's a clear visual hierarchy of what buttons are important when filtering for the vehicle. In this instance, you look through the categories and try to figure out which one will narrow it down to AC seats. In this instance, I'll click Features, which narrows it down further. As you can see, click AC seats, and then it will narrow down to all vehicles with AC seats. Now there's a few other things on here that the website just kind of assumes that users will know how to do. For example, to click over, look at new pictures, you hover. Well, that's it for my analysis of CarMax.com. I think that there's a little bit of extra text, needless words on the main page. It's not really self-evident what buttons are the best, when searching for a vehicle, specifically by feature. Now, if I was to type into the text box what the vehicle make and model was that I was looking for, that would work. But it doesn't really say that, so it's not really clear, how to use this site. Well, next up, I'll be analyzing ProFootballTalk.com. Here you'll see the website ProFootballTalk.com, a website used for news for the NFL. As you can see here, this website's actually organized quite nicely. It's a familiar format. You can see up here where all the toolbar is. It's not really self-explanatory what each category is. For example, looking at Teams, we might not know what exactly that brings us to. However, on this website you'll notice that it's nicely formatted to allow us to scan quickly. There's plenty of headings, everything's categorized, and it's organized quite well. Up the top you'll notice news headlines that are notable that you may want to click on. I'm going to click on the latest news and rumors section. As you can see here, it's nicely organized in chronological order, with the newest news stories towards the top. And as we go down, you'll see that more stories come up as we scroll down the page. Now, I feel like it might be a little bit wordy to put the entire article on one page as you scroll down. I think it might be a little better to put maybe part of the article and be able to click if you'd like to see more. I know some pages do that. It does have it so you can click and look at additional comments, but I think it would be a little bit better if it just put part of the article and gave the option to see more of the article. So overall, this website's organized quite well, but I feel like it might be a little bit wordy and makes it not as easily scannable. Next up, we'll be analyzing the Android app Snapchat. The home screen of my Android device. As you can see on the bottom of the screen is the yellow and white Snapchat icon. Let's open the Snapchat application. As you see upon opening the application, there's no text. Fortunately, there are a few contentions on this screen. In the upper right, you'll see the icon that designates whether or not you'd like to use a front-facing or rear-facing camera. In the upper left is whether or not you'd like to use flash, and on the lower left is a messaging icon. As for the rest of the application, it's not really clear what you're supposed to do with the app, besides the big button in the middle to take a photo. If you're unfamiliar with the application, you might not know that there are other things that you can do with it, but it's not self-evident just by opening the app. So, in an instance like this, a user may muddle through the application, using it without really knowing what they're doing. If I swipe right, you'll see that I can chat with my friends. And you may not know what these icons are, just by looking at them. I need to swipe left to go back to the main screen, which you might not know either. Swiping left brings you to news stories that your friends have posted, as well as stories by advertisers. Swipe right to get back. And then another thing you may not know is swiping down, you can check your profile, as well as additional buttons. Swipe up to get back. And then swipe up again in order to create a story, create a memory. Overall, I think the Snapchat app is very difficult and not very user-friendly for beginners. The last app that I'll take a look at is the LinkedIn social networking app in the upper left-hand corner of my mobile device. Upon opening up the app, you'll see icons at the top of the screen. Just like in the Snapchat app, there are contentions within this screen. However, there are a few that are quite confusing. Looking at the icon of the two people with the one next to it, you'd think that this might mean that a connection wanted to add me. However, this button is just an updates button. So I feel like the LinkedIn app kind of changes things around and uses patterns that are usually recognized as something else, but in this case they use them for different uses. So I feel like that might be a little misleading. As for the other icons, such as the messaging icon or the alerts bell, I feel like those are pretty self-explanatory. So for the most part, I feel like this app is self-evident minus a few different things where the application uses, like I said before, contentions that are not really standard, with most apps. So overall, it's pretty user-friendly with a few tweaks could be made to make it a little bit easier for people that are familiar with other apps. To summarize what I thought about the 4 interfaces that I evaluated, on CarMax.com, while the site was self-evident, I feel like it was a bit disorganized with unnecessary clutter, which forced me to satisfice or choose what I believe to be the first reasonable option. On ProFootball.com, I liked how the website used a clear visual hierarchy and was broken up into clearly defined areas. I think the Snapchat app defines what it's like to muddle through an interface, with no clear explanations how to do things, and very few things are self-evident, which makes the experience quite difficult, especially for beginners. On LinkedIn, on the LinkedIn Android app, I feel it was well organized, and the only thing I found to be confusing was a misleading icon, which could lead you to believe it was a common contention of an added connection. This concludes my presentation.